In 1945, Korea became an almost perfect scientific experiment. One population with the same geography and culture became two separate test groups, one capitalist and one very not.
Fight!
No matter what metric you use, GDP, population, life expectancy, education, technology, military, really whatever, we can now declare South Korea the winner. The North is so underdeveloped that glancing at a nighttime aerial photo might fool you into thinking it's the Pacific Ocean. All of this makes it tempting to see as a failed state, and even easier to laugh when it threatens militaries much stronger than its own. But compare the country not to what it could be, but to what it should be. With the GDP of an African country you've never heard of and 30% of its population undernourished, the North should be erupting in revolution. Even setting aside internal conflict, North Korea acts like a younger sibling provoking his much stronger brothers. Except the threat is nuclear war, and all with the military might of tiny Belgium. If Kim Jong-Un is just a crazy madman, he's been incredibly lucky to survive all of this. Nobody rolls that many natural 20s. Life has never been better for the Kim family. His people may be starving and his diplomacy hostile, but he lives in perpetual "we love the king" day. This makes him not a good leader, but a good leader, a master of politics who stays in power despite everyone working against him. So, just how does he do it? Even the most brutal dictator prioritizes the needs of his citizens, knowing that a hungry or unhappy population is a ticking time bomb, counting down to the beheading of its leader. But North Korea is a rare exception. As hungry as you may be, you've been taught that it's no different anywhere else. Revolting would do no good, biting the only hand that even occasionally feeds you. Low quality of life is not just the unfortunate consequence of misaligned priorities, it's also a beneficial political decision. No one will demand freedom of speech when they're barely able to feed their family. People are far too preoccupied with the latter. Besides, Kim will make personally sure the food doesn't go wasted. You may hear of coming reform, but it's almost always wishful thinking. Kim knows that a better life would create far too ambitious a population. What would normally be incompetence is actually political strategy in the case of North Korea. Countries may claim only to war in the name of freedom and democracy, but it's usually far more complex than that. Offensive wars are fought when the inconvenience of a problem outweighs the cost of war. North Korea knows that it can provoke as much as it wants so long as it doesn't cross that threshold. And provoke it does. Kim has shot South Korean soldiers, sunk submarines, broken a nuclear weapons agreement, and fired missiles into not-so-nice places. These make the news, scaring the world into thinking that war is coming. The media is happy to suggest that this time, Kim really is getting serious. When people are sufficiently scared, Kim opens negotiations. Send us some food aid and we promise to chill. Smart politicians know how hollow these threats are, but they too are playing the political game. Nobody who wants to be re-elected will ignore what their constituents perceive to be a threat to national security. But there is a popular alternative: getting tough with sanctions. If a country isn't playing nice, you raise the prices of its goods to anger its population. This puts pressure on the government, who must behave or risk revolution. North Koreans, however, are unlikely to turn on their glorious leader. And any sanctions big enough to actually make a difference would be blocked by China, who would like to avoid 25 million unskilled workers entering its borders and the biggest military in the world looking over its shoulder. The political mood swings from hard to soft to hard again after each policy fails. Playing soft only helps Kim, and getting tough has little effect. America took a break called strategic patience, but we quickly learned exactly what that really means. Still, Kim knows this can't go on forever. Eventually someone is going to get impatient, and when that happens, things don't look good for an army of biplanes, even if they are camouflaged. So Kim plays the ultimate bomb card. A single nuclear weapon keeps the capitalist pigs at bay, who have too much to lose from a nuclear war. These aren't the signs of some crazy ambition to conquer the world. They're a strategic necessity. A chess player is made good by anticipating his opponent's next move. You're never going to beat a much better player because he can figure out both his next best move and yours too. But if you know you're the weaker player, you can stop trying to beat him by skill and change strategies. By sometimes making irrational, unexplainable moves, your opponent loses that advantage. North Korea does exactly this. No military, no matter how much stronger it may be, wants to risk fighting a loose cannon with nuclear weapons. And Kim knows this. When you hear stories about Kim killing his own family with anti-aircraft guns, pay attention to what that makes you think about him, and then consider how that actually plays to his advantage. Kim knows that he can't outgun America, but he can lessen their power by being too unpredictable to mess with. As long as you keep hearing news of missile tests, impending war, and famine, you can be sure Kim is thriving. His country may be a failure, but his rule is anything but.